while there are planets like you mentioned, Europa, there are others that India has great capabilities to really explore them.
We have to also get people to be motivated to get their feet wet. It is something new. It is something which is transformational. The place where Chandrayaan 2 landed, we call it the Tiranga point. Where Chandrayaan 3 is landing, we call it the Shiv Shakti point. One is our nation. The other is our civilization. But I tell you, the Delhi airport or the Mumbai airport or Hyderabad airport is very beautiful. Bangalore airport is beautiful. They beats any international standard. Why are you talking against your own country?
India has always been intrigued by explorers and traders. We have attracted a lot of explorers that came to India, and we gave zero to the world and path-breaking discoveries and to the markets, to the world. We created curiosity. I think the curiosity comes from India, if so to say. And then the British colonial rule, pushed us into darkness. And we went several centuries behind in our ability to innovate or, harness new technologies, which was pretty much easy. And, we were the golden bird. Let's not forget that. But I guess this time it's changing. We are not shackled anymore by history. We are actually, there are some of you and many other visionaries and individuals and, Indians which are trying to put in India back on the global map with regards to innovation, harnessing technology for better good, for larger masses, and bring phenomenal change globally. What I'm trying to refer here is that, do you see that the way India is now looking itself from a point of view of harnessing every available tool to progress, not to take any step back, not to be threatened, is real? And how much of it is coming out of our own sheer, our determined willpower? Or is it that we think that if not now, then we probably will never be able to do it again? Is it coming out of the fear of, or a determination coming out of this high time, this is it?
India, the real name of India is Bharat.
Yeah.
What does Bharat mean?
Okay.
I'm telling you. Do you know what does Bharat mean? See, that's, and I'm sure everybody who's hearing, 99% people don't know what does Bharat mean. Probably 99.9%. Bharat means the carriers and followers of light.
Interesting.
Okay, you talk about dark ages and all. The name Bharat in itself means the light of knowledge. People who follow light of knowledge, of goodness, of compassion, of life. That is Bharat. That's the meaning of your country, my country, and all of our country. We are Bharatiya. Bharat means we have to be carriers of this. So that is why when you said that we are the epitome, or at least the pioneers of curiosity, that is true. Because it's in our name, it's in our DNA. We are called this because we are this. Because this is what we have done for ages, for thousands of years. We are the ones who built curved roads in Indus. We are the ones who built sanitary systems in every household in Mohenjo-daro. We are the ones who built the world's first and the largest residential university. When it was broken, we repeated even a bigger one in Nalanda, the Takshila and the Nalanda.
Yes.
We are the ones who mastered the art of grammar, Panini, grammar. We are the ones who gave the zero, as you said. We are also the ones who predicted the age of the universe in Rig Veda.
Yes.
When the world believed till 1800 that the universe is only 6,000 years old, because it was written in Bible, and with all respect to Bible, but it was written, and we know factually that's not correct. The Rig Veda says the age of Brahma is billions of years. And I'm not saying this. It is Western analysis which is saying it, which they said, they have admitted, people like, these Western astronomers, they've said Rig Veda is the most accurate depiction of the universe. Right? The best of the world has said it.
Imagine the level of precision.
Yeah, how did we get? We predicted the distance between Earth and the Moon, Earth and the Sun, the shape of the Earth, the solar system, the calendar. Yes. We built the calendar. The Gregorian calendar, which we follow, had 10 months.
Right.
They thought, oh, we missed it. We had to add 2 months. That is why you had, November or December is the 10th month. December. It is 10. They got it wrong. September was sept, which is 7. But it's actually the 9th month because 2 months had to be inserted. Right? They got it wrong. We didn't. So this civilized, just understand one thing we must realize, and we must teach our children. We don't need to be arrogant about it. But at the same time, the absence of arrogance does not mean that you should also not be proud of what you are.
Right.
You belong, and we all inherit a DNA which is far older than your memory can fathom, your family tree can fathom. And it goes right to Aryabhat, right into the Indus Valley civilization, right into Valmiki, and right into someone who came before it, the Bharat, the carriers of light.
The carriers of light.
So I think the carriers of light, then you said that, oh, are we doing it? This renaissance of India is happening because of, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of endurance. We went from being 8% or 35% of the global economy, GDP. Angus Madison's work, anybody can look up that. 35% of the global GDP in around 1600 to less than 2% of the global GDP at 1947.
Yeah, thanks to the Britishers, I guess.
Thanks to the Britishers and also some really misguided late Mughal kings. I must also blame them equally.
Right.
The reason why the British were able to do what they did was because some of the Mughals were more interested of religious persecution, of capturing territory against people's will, use of force. Beginning Aurangzeb, I think we completely lost plot.
Right.
And then it was just a downward slide. Yeah. If you were at the hem of the nation, you are responsible for its well-being. It doesn't matter which people align to you or which don't. Religiously, I'm talking about. So we lost that plot, beginning 1600 around. Now, from 1947, 2% or less than that, we've started growing. We're still far away from where we were. Today, Americans hold about 14% of global GDP.
Yes.
We were at 38%. So we were almost thrice as rich as what America appears to you today. Thrice as more powerful economically.
The golden bird.
That is why we say the golden age of India.
Yeah, golden age.
And now we are saying the Amrit Kal.
Yes.
We're saying we're back.
Yes.
So it is still the beginning of it. It's not, by no means it is the end of it. We still have a long, long way to go. The best news is that we sort of we have overcome the British economy. So we are bigger than them.
Right.
Which is, I think, from a very, let's say, self-pride angle, very important to me.
And we have an Indian who is a prime minister there.
So we have an Indian origin person whose name is Rishi.
Yeah.
And there's a very good chance, looking at the American elections, that we are 2 Indians who will contest for the presidential election, perhaps.
Yeah.
You've got Kamala Harris, who still, I think...
But there's a new person in the bloc. Vivek Ramaswamy.
And he's phenomenal.
I believe he got a backing from Elon Musk as well.
Yeah, I think he's phenomenal. And I think they're both the number 2 right now.
Yes.
One side is in their respective parties.
Right.
So you may actually have an Indian versus an Indian for the American election.
Wow.
So
history
will
be created.
There's so many countries where this will keep happening.
Right.
So we not only we are the CEOs of corporates across the world now, we are also taking a lot of political positions across the world. And this is Bharata, because we are the carriers of light. And when you said the answer to your other thing was, no great rise comes out of desperation. It comes out of positive motivation. I think we are at a cusp and in a time where we feel, for the first time, you start feeling proud of India. And it's still not complete. So the other day I was coming from Dubai, and there was an Indian couple, probably, they recently married, it seemed like, or about to get married. And this boy tells this, we're coming back in the Indigo flight. And this is Dubai airport. And he says, long lines are there. And he says, look, lines, Indian, it's an Indian airline company. So the India ka jaisa line hai. I like just saying this in front, and I told him in front of his would-be wife, and maybe he didn't like it. I said, why are you saying this? See, there are Firangs who are standing here. What will they think? That we are a country of complete mess. Yeah. Which we are not. Look at any flight, there is a long line. Every flight, and Dubai airport is that's how
totally.
Airports are. There's nothing good or bad about it. That's how airports are. But I tell you, the Delhi airport or the Mumbai airport or Hyderabad airport is very beautiful. Bangalore airport is beautiful.
Yes.
They are beats any international standard.
Yes.
Why are you talking against your own country? this is what happens in my generation.
Hmm.
But it does not happen now in the children.
Hmm.
The children of India have a song of India to sing.
Yes.
There's this girl I remember in 2009 or something,
Hmm.
and she asked Kalam, "Sir, I have only one question. When can I sing the song of India?"
Hmm.
He said, "By 2020."
Wow.
And we can sing a song of India by 2020. When the Globe was appreciating us, that, it's the news started in 2019. I'm sorry, I'm saying things, you can just fit it anywhere.
Sure.
And I'm very emotional about that. In 2019, what's his name? The World Health Organization chairperson went to China, and he said that God help that this, if it had started in India, they would have never been able to control it. The Chinese are amazing. They are able to lock down this, that. They have technology, so they were able to contain this. Otherwise, if it originated in India, my God, there would have been mass scale death and destruction across India. 2019 or 2020, because then the virus was sort of February, because in February they sort of declared it a pandemic, and this is probably around the very early days when we just had the lockdown around March, April. Right? That's what he said. In 2 years, or actually less than 2 years, by the end of next year, the World Health, the same person was saying, "Oh, India should send the vaccine to these people. India should send the vaccine to these people. India will send the vaccine. India will make vaccines." We built not one, not two, three vaccines.
Right.
Nobody did that. Nobody did it. Who did it? Nobody did it.
Right. Now imagine the China give death to world and we give the war to the world.
And the Chinese vaccine further death to the world.
Further death to the world.
And so what I'm trying to tell you is that, and the Americans had two vaccines, I think, Moderna and that mRNA vaccine, the one which Pfizer vaccine. And then we had our own two vaccines, and the third one came with Zydus. The Chinese vaccine, the Sinopharm one, didn't work at all.
Right.
We were sending not just vaccines but masks and medical kits to the world. We were able to, when we had the worst of our pandemic, while a lot of people died, and it's very, very sad, nobody should die, but it's a pandemic, remember that. In 14 days, turned around our industry, our steel industry, turned its oxygen inside out, and it just made it into medical oxygen.
Wow.
It is magic.
Unbelievable.
It is magic.
From any yardstick.
There were trains running with oxygen tanks, which were coming from steel plants in Jamshedpur and Rourkela into Lucknow and Allahabad and Patna, and saving people's lives. Our steel plants, this is India. These are the followers of light.
Right.
So I think India is a nation and a people which has so much now to sing for itself. I think any child born today can sing the song of India, and I'm extremely emotional about it. And I think this is something which I wish I was a child again, and there would be so many new things I would do. I would probably be a guggernaut, not an astronaut, but a guggernaut.
Oh wow! No,
but yeah, any child who's hearing it, or if you're a parent, if you're hearing it, here's your time. Be in India. This is the place. The light is back, so be the follower of light. Be the Bharatiya.
Wow! But I will come to a question which has been quite popularly Google searched, that India's conviction and its commitment for space exploration is now established. Everybody is looking at moon from a point of exploring further. And I also read that we are this expedition that happened, or this entire attempt was to study moon even better, with regards to the minerals, the surface, and other areas of scientific quest. My question is that what is left to be explored from that we are going to moon, while while there are planets like you mentioned, Europa, there are others that India has great capabilities to really explore them. Why moon is such a curiosity for explorers, space scientists and stuff?
Why are we going to the moon? Now, moon is good. Moon is important because most of the moon is unexplored. Understand how the moon was formed. So the Earth, the early Earth, there were about 20 planets in the inner solar system. Inner solar system is everything Mars and inner.
Okay.
Right. So Mars is the edge of the inner solar system, then the asteroid belt, and then the outer solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and that planet who got lost in its way, Pluto. Right? So you got, right now, inner solar system has Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars.
Yeah.
Now, In this inner solar system, there were a crowd of about 20 odd planets at the time of the birth of our solar system, which is 4.5 billion years ago.
Right.
What will happen if in a narrow lane, you had 20 people driving really fast?
Of course.
They'll collide into each other. So there's a planet called Theia, which is about 40% of Earth's mass, which is almost equal to Mars, which was an accident path to Earth, and it collided. Back then, there was no moon. The Earth almost died. It would have finished. Both of them would have finished. But the Earth endured. धरती में बहुत क्षमता होती है सहन की, ठीक है? इसलिए धरती को
पृथ्वी
इसलिए धरती को नारी रूप में देखा जाता है क्योंकि एंड्योरेंस बहुत होती है. तो it absorbed Theia. And in the process, because of the impact, a lot of dust from Earth and Theia, the light particles, flew up. And then they went around, this dust was going around Earth. Now Earth plus Theia, Earth has eaten it and it's going around. And then they started, gravity made them condense into each other. It became bigger, like a ball. And that ball became the moon.
Okay.
So when you go to and that's why South Pole is so important. Because equator of the moon receives a lot of sunlight.
Right.
And then in sunlight, the temperature goes up. And anything which liquefies immediately evaporates because it is vacuum. Right? In vacuum, liquids immediately evaporate. So it's either solid or it's gas. And if it's gas, it is lost because the solar geomagnetic, or rather not geo, but the magnetic waves coming from the sun would take away. In our case, it doesn't because we have a magnet inside us. The moon does not. So everything is lost. So only thing which is of interest is solid, frozen. Where would it freeze the most? At the poles.
Of course, yeah.
And why the southern pole? Because the southern pole has got high mountains and these craters. So there's shadow areas, sun shadow areas. Right?
Okay.
You saw the pictures. You can put up the pictures. The pictures show long shadows of the sun. Right? So these are the long shadows. And the long shadows mean that the sun is low on the horizon. So the sun barely shines in the southern South Polar region.
Right.
And that means there's a lot of frozen content for 4.5 billion years old. It's like your content, right? So we are as space scientists also, we are hungry for content. This is the content. Frozen content of Earth, Theia and the moon.
Right.
You understand all three of them.
So in that context, Europa, speaking of Europa, has the longest ice shield. There is a certainty of water being present there, and it has the temperature and gravity and most sustainable and most closest to Earth. What are we doing in that exploration to Europa?
We've had not India, but the Voyager 1 and 2 mission had a flyby towards Europa. That's how we got to know all this. We have done some spectrometry to analyze. That's why we know that there's water probably under that sheet, maybe liquid water protected. Europa has its own set of problems. It does not have a rich atmosphere like we do. Europa is also quite tiny, so it's not huge. And the bigger problem is the planet near it has got a very high gravity.
Okay.
It's one of the giants. So landing on it may seem easy, but there are its own complications because the path is not going to be easy and it's far away. So bringing things back and forth between, say, Europa and Earth would be complicated as of now. The easier thing would be to go to moon and get this, there are a lot of minerals, including helium-3, which can be used to as a fusion power fuel. But we've not done fusion power yet. But when we do discover, humankind does discover how to manage fusion power, helium-3 from the moon can be very useful. There's enough helium-3 on moon to power the Earth, power India for 40,000 years.
Okay.
Which is like infinite.
Infinite.
Right?
Yeah.
So, from our time scale, it looks infinite. So that is our nearest thing. And we have to live on moon. See, the Earth is, at the end of the day, all planets are fragile. One stray meteor. And we've seen species collapse.
Right.
We've had mass extinction events, I think 5 of them. The dinosaurs were there, they vanished, and there were many other species which are dominant and vanished. So for any species to survive the test of time, it cannot be confined to a single planet. It has to go to other planets. That's the only way humans will live as a species for a very long time, if not forever.
Okay, maybe the way we are progressing, maybe moon can become a future wedding destination.
30 years, I think we can book tickets to moon. You can go to our website, moontrip.com.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just making up the name.
Sure.
And you can book a bulk deal
Okay.
a whole bus to the moon.
Can I buy land there?
You can, but there is a treaty which sort of forbids you from doing it. But I don't think countries are not going to stick to that treaty.
Okay.
Because the treaty was made at a time when nobody was going to the moon.
Moon.
Now that you are going to the moon and there is opportunity there, I think the treaty would be thrown out of the window.
Yeah.
And eventually whoever goes where will exert their point. That's why it's so important to have, for example, the Shiva Shakti point is very important. It's important to associate the place where Chandrayaan 2 landed, we call it the Tiranga point.
Tiranga point.
Where Chandrayaan 3 is landing, we call it the Shiva Shakti point. One is our nation. The other is our civilization. Nation and civilization. Those things will become very important. In 50 years, people will thank that what an idea.
Wow. So let me on a lighter note, what would the land record of moon look like? Who will be cutting the square yard and acres?
Well, I suppose it will look like any other land area. The moon is 1/6 of the Earth's mass. It's probably about 1/4 of.
But who to buy it from?
I think the governments will eventually. I think the governments will exert control. That's where it's important. So what will happen is and this is again, my guess is as good as yours. What do you do with ocean land? Not the ocean land, but what do you do with the ocean? How do you exert sovereignty in an ocean?
Right.
So you say there's something called there's an international water.
Yeah.
And then there is your coast.
Yes.
I think 100, I'm not sure, but X amount of kilometers from your coastline is considered to be your territory, your water, Indian waters.
Yeah.
Everything else is international water. Right. So the middle of the Pacific Ocean belongs to nobody. Right. So the same thing will happen in moon because that's our tested formula. We will put these points. So whoever is where, say 500 kilometers around, Shiva Shakti point will be Indian territory. Okay. Something like that.
Interesting. No, this is like landmarking in a way. Landmarking.
That seems to be the most feasible. That's why it's important
most
to
logical
do these
as
moon
well.
missions.
Right.
It's important to do moon missions for precisely this reason because there will be a standard, and people who have gone there and created their own points of landing there will have an upper hand in deciding how things are done.
Wow, thanks for sharing that because that truly magnifies the vision.
It's very geopolitically important. It's and you don't realize it now sitting here, but in 15 years you will.
Wow. No, thanks. We have a visionary leaders who can think on those lines and kind of help us get there. Right. Srijan, of course, I would like to get more insights from you on two areas. One is how can the Indian education system, the schools, the colleges, which are yet to plug themselves in or figure out the future of education and bring that into their campuses. What is your message to the schools and institutions that are yet to incorporate truly future learning courses that can make students ready for jobs in EV industry or maybe in different spaces? Solar tech, I believe you were working on some solar tech kind of a program.
Space-based solar power.
Yeah,
we want to send solar panels into space.
Right. So, what is your message to these schools and colleges and institutions? How do they plug in with you?
First of all, embrace change. Understand that if we cannot live like an ostrich. The change is there. We cannot undo it by not looking at it. Because somebody will look at it and somebody will embrace it and somebody will adopt to it. And that adaptation will eventually lead to the growth. So number one is that. I think schools and colleges need to do that. Don't become confined to just toeing on a syllabus. Boards are important. I understand that. Whatever board you subscribe to. Because that does become, it's a structured learning process. But also look at unstructured learning process, right? It's not really the end goal cannot just be to get your class 10 toppers, 99%. It doesn't matter how many children. The whole paper is full of photographs who have 99 point something.
Yes.
It's really not a game changer
There's
anymore.
no space for 95 and below.
Yeah, exactly. 97 ke niche ka to photo bhi nahi nikalte. But in life, do the 99% percenters or 98 percenters are the ones who done well in life?
Absolutely.
They would have done well in life. I'm not saying that. But are they the ones who are the only ones who do well in life? What percentage is the correlation? It's hardly any. The 90 percentiles have done, 90 percenters have done equally well. 80 percenters have done great. 70 wale bhi
Dropouts
have
have
done
done also well.
Yeah, what percentage of IITians are actually launching the Chandrayaan 3 mission? A small fraction.
Right.
And those are probably not, they would not have been the first ones to get placed on day zero.
Right.
They would have landed in ISRO and now they're national heroes.
Right.
So life is not about pure structured academic learning subscribed by a board or a university. Colleges subscribe to a university. Life is also about teaching children and youngsters the ability to learn new skills and unlearn old skills. The problem of extremely structured learning is that you've invested so much time and effort in learning from the books, which are subscribed and prescribed, that you feel it's almost unfair to let go of that knowledge. But knowledge is changing. Knowledge is not necessarily, it is in books, but it's also in many other sources now. So I think embracing that change is important. And from our end, from the end of somebody who's the provider of there are many other things which you would learn, but we are just one of them. In terms of future, if you're interested, we are the only ones, but then there are other skills. Our responsibility is to keep it a democratic product. See, we've seen what happened in the education technology space. We've seen the ones who overpriced them in the whole COVID sort of rode in a wave of desperation and how desperate situation they have landed themselves into.
Yes.
And without naming anyone, there are many actually, so there's no point in naming anyone. Education, sustainable education product has to be democratic. It has to be user-friendly. It has to be language independent. Language cannot become a block of learning. Na? How can you say that you need to know English to know this? Maybe you're not. Why not Hindi? So how does it stop anything? It's called Shiva Shakti Point. It's not called like some English name, right? So it's called Chandrayaan, not like moon, moon vehicle.
Moon vehicle.
Right. So it's Chandrayaan. Right. So you see, the age of being dependent and English being a superior language while we are conversing in English is gone.
Right.
Local language is equally respectable. Vernacular language is equally respectable. Local dialect is equally respectable. That has to be from the education provider. Right. We cannot be discriminatory there. And we need to focus on creating great content and be a little patient with marketing. It's not about, sabko pakad lo bas, hai na? What happened, how people were raising loans.
Oh, yes.
Just so that,
the whole,
but that's it's borderline unethical.
Right.
So we have to be extremely cautious that education, as an education service provider, edtech or otherwise, content creator, if I don't have integrity in my value, then I cannot teach any science, any math, anything. Totally. Because education, the pillar of any education, whatever subject, is human value of education, is integrity, empathy, and democratic values, where anyone who wants to learn should be able to afford it. Right. So, and we can do it. That's where your initial question of technology comes in handy. Yeah. Because today technology enables us to do that.
Right.
Now we, for instance, at our Homi Lab, we are able to offer products as low as less than the price of a book. Right. 200 rupees a course. We can do that. So we can do 300 rupees a game, which is less than a cost of any game, any book. And you can do that. And we want to bring it down further. So we have to bring it down further and create a mass movement around education revolution where people say that, yes, I want to transform. I want to learn about the future.
So one is embrace change. Don't go out of box or go explore unstructured approach to curating your courses. Boards are important, but that doesn't make everybody bookworm. There has to be an element of curiosity and exploration built up in your syllabus or courses. And pricing of these courses or classes becomes very, very vital and important, because education is for masses, not for the elite. And of course, before we conclude this episode, Srijan, I would like to ask your views. That is a famous saying that the real education is outside the four walls of the school. How do you look at it as an education, and then what this truly means? How to decipher this saying?
See, education is a mix of human values, theories, and what is going to happen in the future. Values are mostly taught.
Do you do co-created courses, or those who wants to come to Homi Lab can subscribe? Of course, you have spoken about your pricing, you've spoken about your curation style.
So we do create co-creation of content is important, I think, especially with startups, because a lot of startups in India are riding on the cusp of where sort of technology is transforming world. So it's the cutting edge of technology.
Right.
We work with some of them. We recently did an agreement with a company called Inverted, which is one of the leading battery manufacturers and innovators of India.
All right.
So we're trying to build something on EV on that. So we'll build that. We're looking at some universities also where we can partner with them. But I think startups are more exciting to me because startups are actually working on something which is going to happen. And there's money which people have put behind them, which means they've been audited, tested, their models have been sort of validated by somewhere. So we are looking at that, which we are producing. And we are looking at how we can tie up with schools. We have managed to work with a lot of schools so far, more than 110 schools through various projects. The first thing we did was just to make it lighter. We started a Future Olympiad, which is the world's first Future Olympiad, where we're going to take children to different museums across the world.
Wow. Can I subscribe and be on a subscription list?
Yeah, so you can be for the second round. I think we're taking to the Natural History Museum in London. The first round we are taking, this already sort of results are about to be declared. We're taking to the Future Museum in Dubai.
You did something also on the photography. And
the space photography.
Space photography.
ISS-based space photography. We did that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, so right now, I think we have to also get people to be motivated to get their feet wet.
Right.
It is something new. It is something which is transformational. And so bulk of our subscribers do come directly, but also via schools also. So schools are very important because I think at the end of the day, schools are the learning centers. And I think if we can inculcate a value of futurism, a worth for it in schools, it becomes more structured. Right. So, and our mission is to spread it. We are happy to give content. And if teachers can deliver it, nothing like it. If teachers become a part of the process. See, our aim is to see that in 20 years, or rather less actually, in 15 years, I want to see a Gaganaut or, who goes and says, oh, I learned this course at Homi Lab and that's how we went. I was motivated to go to space.
Launch a campaign called Gaganaut. Those who kids qualify and all, they will be able to handshake with you, ISRO and stuff.
We will definitely do something. That's a good idea. We will take it up.
Because I wish I can go back to my childhood and, subscribe to these amazing content that you have thrown out open as an opportunity.
Maybe you can.
Okay. Do I have a chance to go back to school? Your school?
No, I think...
Literally,
I don't know, but that sort of fits in the bill of the discussion we're having. But I would not be surprised that if in the next 40 years we are able to take your memories and consciousness and plant it into your clone, which could be a child.
Oh, wow. Now that brings me to a very interesting question, a popular question. A lot of folks asked me to kind of ask this question to you. Are aliens for real?
Why would you call them aliens, first of all?
Okay, the others.
It's a minor insult to call someone alien.
Sorry, aliens, you are not aliens. I'll call you others.
Yeah, they are beings from another entity. So we call them aliens, but they're only aliens if they come to us. Yeah. If we go to their planet, what they
must be calling us.
Yeah, so we are the aliens then. So really, let's maybe we are just they're another living being on a species, and they may not be like us. They may be a plant. They may be another form of animal. They may be not necessarily which breathes in oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide, because on our own planet there are species which do the ulta, reverse of it.
Right.
So the right question is, does life exist in any form outside the realms of our Earth? Philosophically, if that is the case, that there's no life outside Earth, then why us? What makes us so special or so alone, right? So I wonder that of all the billions of galaxies in our universe, the billions of stars in every galaxy, there's somewhere like a trillion billion planets, something like that, right? Just endless zeros. Zeros. And in that, if there is absolutely no planet which has life, not just life, but life like us, similar to us, why us? What makes us so alone and so special? So I doubt that's going to be the case. I think it's just a matter of somebody was sitting in an African jungle on a tree and thinking there are no other living species beyond the realms of these trees.
Right.
And
Okay.
then they went to other places and they found more people up until
Hmm.
Christopher Columbus.
Right.
Right? He found some people
We have folks here.
right. We have folks even here, and they look like us.
They look like us.
They talk like us. They're
Right.
absolutely like us.
Hmm.
So there is a good chance that there are living species outside the realms of our Earth.
Hmm.
Now, will I say that am I 100% sure?
Hmm.
No, no scientist will give you that
Hmm.
level of confidence, because 100% means that
Hmm.
that you know it, but
Hmm.
we don't. But the probability of that is extremely high.
All right.
To me, till 99.9%, 99%.
Right.
But till we find them, I cannot claim it. But there's every single chance that we would be able to trace life, maybe on our own solar system.
Hmm.
See, we've not dug holes in Europa. We've not even dug holes in on
Yeah,
Moon and
yeah,
Mars
yeah.
properly. So maybe there is life. Who knows?
So
In a
does it
different
mean that it's a question mark that if others exist,
It's a matter of time to me.
okay, or is
I
it a
mean-
classified thing that you are not
No,
able to
I wish I'd
clearly
known.
speak about it?
No, I don't think there's anything classified. At least I don't know. It's not
Hmm.
classified. But if it's classified, then we probably would have had visitors who are aliens.
So haven't we having, because the media is full of
UFOs.
UFOs and
UFO is different from extraterrestrial being.
right.
A UFO is an unidentified flying object. It
yeah.
could be, it probably is a spy jet of some other country,
Right.
which is more likely. But if they're extraterrestrial beings and they
Yes.
visited us, why would they not reveal us? They're clearly superior than us
Yes.
because they traveled here.
Hmm.
And we are not even close to going to moon.
Hmm.
I mean, we're barely 12 people have gone to moon so far.
Hmm.
So we are absolutely like, we are primitive in front of them, you know.
Hmm.
So there may be two reasons. One
Hmm.
is that they have not visited us,
Hmm.
which is more likely.
Hmm.
The other is that they visited us and they found us too dumb. They said,
Oh, they are figuring it out. Let them figure
let
it
them
out.
figure out. It's
Okay.
like if you see
let them study Homi Lab courses and get you know.
yeah. So if you see a ant hive,
Hmm.
you know, an ant
Oh my God! What
ant
an
hill,
intelligent creature that
right?
is,
It's an
yeah.
intelligent creature, but
Right.
you don't poke your finger
Yeah.
because you see it, right? Like let them be.
Let them be.
Let them be
Right.
what. So
Right.
so maybe that's how they look at us, because clearly they are
Right.
better than us
Right.
by a huge margin. So if anyone is hearing,
Right.
please reveal yourself.
Right. Yeah, sure. Before we conclude, of course, I'm really tempted before I conclude, and I keep asking you question. But this is to do with the planets have controlled our atmosphere, our high tides, low tides happens, and we watch, the moon timing, that what time will be high tide and low tide, and cloud formation, rains, everything is controlled as if by a large monitor of solar system. Now humans are creating artificial rain, seeding clouds, and trying to alter the weather patterns as well. What is your opinion? I'm not asking whether it's right or wrong. What is your opinion in this in this space?
See, I think if humans think they can entirely control nature, that's the most unwise assumption to make. Nature itself is very intelligent. If you think that nature is just a neutral entity which has absolutely no brain and no intelligence of its own, we are absolutely wrong. Every tiny seed coming from any tree has the exact ability to grow that exact tree with the exact DNA match.
Yes.
Every seed is so intelligent. Every tree has so much of intelligence. And all of this put together is nature. So if that collective intelligence is not intelligent on its own, and we somehow are arrogant enough to believe that we are a product of that tiny minuscule existence in a tiny frame of time, which think that we can control nature, then we're fooling nobody but ourselves.
Right.
We've been on this planet as Homo sapiens for 200,000 years. That's all. The planet has been here for 4.5 billion years.
Right.
You're not even 0.001% of the planet's existence. So you really cannot change the planet. The planet will just shrug you off like a, nothing. It's just planet will do like humans are gone. Right?
Dust.
So I think our ability has to be to coexist with planet. Yeah, of course, a few changes can be done. Even a petulant child can ask a mother for something more than what they deserve. That's all our relationship with our planet can be. The planet will give us only till we are not too petulant. We are not, the planet does not submit to our wills. We believe it does, but it doesn't. We have to exist on this planet for foreseeably a very, very large amount of time. Even if we start living on moon, it'll be only maybe 100 people, maybe 1,000 people. By the end of this century, maybe 100,000 people will live on moon, maybe another 100,000 on the rest of the planets by the end of this whole century. But the bulk of human population will still remain on Earth. And Earth is our home, the only home we have.
Right.
The only thing where you can walk freely without putting anything artificially around you. No domes, perfect gravity, amazing sunshine. You're built by the Earth, for the Earth. So it's better that we sort of take care of the Earth. Terraforming to an extent is fine. But if you believe that you can change everything and every rain, because when you do an artificial rain somewhere, you cut that rain from somewhere else.
Right.
Right. So you are forcing the moisture to fall down here and not there.
Right. Dubai has adopted cloud seeding and stuff, and
but
they have created magic
if you start
on ground.
doing it over a mass scale, what will happen is that the exactly same thing which you're saying in for example, the Kaveri River issue.
Right.
What is happening? There's one state which takes up the water upstream,
Yeah.
and the downstream state is saying, why are you taking my water?
Right.
That exactly thing will start happening in as a geopolitical problem. Now there are countries involved. Because suppose I say that I'm going to make rain happen as soon as it enters the western coast of India, then what will the people of Uttar Pradesh say? All the rain you've taken, nothing left, moisture.
Right.
What will happen to my farms? And that will become a geopolitical issue. Wars will happen if this starts happening.
So should it be stopped? Should it be reconsidered?
I think instead of trying to make artificial, see, at some point you can control weather. You cannot control climate. The moment you get to control to climate, it's a large scale change. Suppose a major flood is going to happen, right? A cloud burst is going to happen. And you say, okay, I'm not going to let that cloud burst happen there because they don't need it. But maybe I can make it rain here so that they don't feel the cloud burst.
Right.
That is a Kalyan mission. It's not a greedy mission.
Okay.
So as long as it's done with everybody in the chain, in confidence and in good faith, that is the only way I think it could be done. But even then, if this happens globally, you have no control over the climate variables. So how will it impact X part of the world? We don't know.
Right. No, yeah, I think we all have a lot of rechecks and rebalances to do at our end, whether at a national level, whether at the decision makers level of the world.
And we must also acknowledge that we are feeble beings.
We are feeble beings.
We are not
right?
as
we are
strong
not
as
immortals.
We're not immortals. We
Yeah.
also we don't know much. You are a little species which does not
Little
know.
speck.
Little speck in time, and we don't even know basic things. How man invented fire, we're not really sure of.
Yeah.
How our own brain works, we don't know. We don't know even our own. We don't.
The least explored in the medical field is our brain.
We are barely going to the next little celestial body, the moon, which is really close. 4 lakh kilometers is nothing in a cosmic level.
Right.
So let's not get arrogant and ahead of our curve.
Yes, that's the message for the civilization. So this was Srijan Singh speaking about future of education to exploration of space and much beyond, about spirituality, cosmos, and how are we interconnected and yet retaining our uniqueness. We dived into history, we dived into Vedas, and look how much insights we have captured in this episode. I told you this is going to be one great episode to plug in, and no one better than Srijan to have done justice or contributed at this scale of insights for Enigma India. And with you and Homi Lab, I'm sure the future of learning is secure. And thanks for building this future learning lab right here in India and being out there putting India on the global map.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Srijan. It was lovely to have you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you. Always very insightful to meet you.